Well, welcome back to A Closer Look. We are wrapping up this weekend's episode. Of course, we're all about the Carousel this weekend. Again, I'm Jessica Larkin. Reggie is joining me now, and you've heard us talk about the Four Horsemen, and of course, you're one of those founding members, one of the Four Horsemen.
Yes, I was one of the Four Horsemen. There were four of us that went down to Soddy Daisy to a carving school called the Horsing Around Carving School, and learned how to carve carousel animals from Bud Ellis. Bud has been running that school for about 26, 27 years and just recently retired, as a matter of fact.
Oh, wow.
But he has taught thousands of people to carve animals.
Is it as hard as it looks? It looks very difficult.
Well, it's time consuming. It takes a lot of patience and a lot of persistence. That's why most of us are retired. Working people have difficulty doing this, but we do have some, or had some people who work full-time that actually carved animals, but they would come in at night and on Saturday mornings and carve.
So talking about, the people that carved animals, how many volunteers were there and how many man hours, I guess maybe a rough estimate of total?
Okay. We've had over 300 volunteers working on our project, and those include carvers, painters, mechanics, fundraisers, you name it. Office help. We've had it, over 300 people, and probably over 700 sponsors of some nature that have sponsored an animal, a rounding board painting, a bird painting, a bench for the roundhouse, and so forth.
And so you did at least one animal. Did you do more than one also?
I've done two animals for the platform. My first animal was Woody, which is a blood bay, which is a dark brown horse. And he's the typical carousel horse. And then I carved Roscoe, the rascally rabbit, and he has a straw hat, and he was just a fun thing to carve.
He is cute as a button.
Thank you.
So how many man hours, go into just a single animal?
A single animal will take anywhere from 800 to 1,000 hours, depending on the experience of the carver. Mm-hmm. Your animal that you do first always takes 1,000 hours or so, and then you get better as you learn techniques and so forth.
So what were some of your favorite parts? Anything personally that you worked on, or maybe sharing what you've learned in your experiences with other volunteers to kind of talk us through the process and some of your favorite things?
Absolutely, my favorite thing in this whole project has been to see 300 community volunteers come together with a single purpose in mind and spend over 50,000 volunteer hours working on a project for their community. To me, it blows my mind every time I think about it, that these 300 volunteers could come together and do this. Many of them have never even carved before and came together and learned how to carve because they had a single purpose in mind, and that was building a carousel for their community.
Personally, how does that touch you? What does that mean to you that so many people came together? Did you ever imagine 300 volunteers would join together?
I never imagined 300 volunteers. In fact, when the Four Horsemen went to Soddy Daisy, we talked about, are we going to have to carve all these animals ourselves? And when we came back to Kingsport and started trying to recruit volunteers, they just came out of the woodwork.
Literally, right?
Literally. We were overwhelmed with volunteers, and it's been wonderful. But every time we would need somebody to do something for us, they would walk through the door, literally. If I needed an electrician, a mechanic, they would walk through the door and say, "Can I help?"
That talks leaps and bounds about the community that we have here in Kingsport.
Absolutely, it does.
And through your process as kind of one of the ringleaders, because I know at times it was a little bit chaotic, what has the process been like? Has personally, have you learned anything or changed, or are you just overwhelmed with how amazing the communities came together? I'm
still overwhelmed at how the communities come together, but we have become a community of volunteers, and I've learned about people, things that I didn't know about individuals, and we have become just a family, and we'll continue to be a family, I'm sure.
Real quick, do you have a favorite animal? Besides the ones you carved, and I can't play favorites.
Oh, good.
They're all amazing, aren't they?
I would say the Girls Incorporated Dreamer. has to be an inspiration to everybody. Susan Fleener had never carved before. She came and she worked very hard, working full time, and I think built a beautiful, beautiful animal.
It is, and even some of the girls helped paint on it a little bit.
Absolutely. Well, they did, and they designed it too.
Well, that's great. Well, thank you so much, Reggie, for joining us, and thank you for all of your hard work on this project. Everyone, make sure you come and check it out. Of course, they're open daily now. Rides are just $1. It's about a 3.5-minute ride, one of the best ones you'll experience. When I wrote on it, I mentioned that it goes a lot quicker than I imagined. So it's worth $1. It's worth about $5, ride it a couple different times. All the animals have names. You can come see the names of the animals, ask anyone that works here some of the history of the animals, because everything does represent something. So thank you so much for joining us, and come check out the carousel.